Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends from all over the world. This is episode 3 of the Homesick Lonewolf podcast with your host, John Schaefer. What's going on, people? This is episode 3. Just touching base, checking in on you, seeing how you're doing on this beautiful day on planet Earth. I'm grateful to be alive on this day with you, and I wish we could hang out. I wish we could celebrate life together and hug it out. But that's why I'm making these podcasts, so we can keep in touch, and I can, let you know what I'm up to and let you know what I've been doing. Tell you about this transcendence and this transformation I've been taking on, this destruction of the old self and destruction of the old habits, the old behavior. We're out here rebuilding, and we're out here trying to find a better quality of life, people. And I want to help you do that as well. And I just wanted to address some things about the last 2 episodes. A lot's happening, and a lot of this is taking place in 2006, 2005, 2007, 2008. This little area there. But yeah, I just wanted to let that be clear. I'm working very hard these days building a relationship with my mother. I'm working very hard to build a healthy, genuine relationship with people that I have hurt in my past and then people that don't trust me anymore. I'm just really trying my best to build and make some things happen and actually make those adjustments in life, because that's not who I want to be and that's not who I am. I was just kind of stuck in this dimension of darkness and depression and anxiety and no goals, no ambitions, not really holding on to anything, not really focusing my attention and my energy on healthy things. The day mostly revolved around going to the bar around 4 or 5 o'clock and starting to party with people and get through the day, pills, steal, eat. It was just a very, very small world. And addiction does this to you, man. It just kind of takes away everything. It reroutes your entire mindset. It reroutes all of your intentions, takes away all of your priorities and replaces your priorities just wanting to feel okay and just wanting to numb out. That's a big part of this whole process, man, is learning what the anxiety and the depression is trying to communicate to me. I didn't know this stuff when I was younger, I was just destructive and trying to run from it. Anytime those feelings would surface, I would want to drink or party it away or somehow numb it out and escape from it. Been insane the last couple years without alcohol and pills. It's just been about facing all of those emotions and learning to deal with them for the first time. And looking back at it, I'm so grateful for a lot of it. Mother had to press charges on me. It was over 10 years ago. We were different people back then. And I have since forgiven her. I've forgiven everybody. I have forgiven myself. It's just wonderful to be alive and to work on things and not be in that destructive dimension anymore. Those last episodes were definitely pretty deep to me. They were pretty intense to me, but I just needed to get some of these things out. Some of them are very interesting, entertaining, and intense, but they really happened, and I'm just trying to do my best to tell these stories. And yeah, they're entertaining. They're interesting. There's also lessons in here. There are lessons in these stories, in these trials that I'm telling you. There are lots of lessons. I'm just so thankful I didn't die back then, because that's kind of the end result. That's pretty much all that can happen. And I had to realize that, I just met a lot of people while I was there in jail, like people that were there all the time, people that go in and out all the time. They just cannot play ball. They cannot stay between the lines when they get out. They cannot do probation successfully. That's a big deal, man. I really wish I could help people that are getting out of jail and starting over. A lot of things happen when you're in jail. A lot of things move on without you. Opportunity passes by. Friends move. People grow. By the time you get out, a lot of things can change. I got out and I was a month behind on rent, so I had to move and get out of my place right away as soon as I got out of jail. It's very hard because they don't realize that when you're inside there, you're not being a productive member of society. You're not putting to use and you're not utilizing your skills in the community or your environment. You're not really being useful at all. That's really when you have to shrink your world and just focus and do the time and utilize it. Some people sleep it away. A lot of people read. I definitely read a lot when I was in there. And this was only a 28-day, 29-day thing. Like I said, it was this weird car thing. You know, I took my mother's car and all intentions of bringing it back. And she pressed charges on me, and I got probation for a year. Time served, good 29, 28 days. Kind of hard as a young man trying to deal with this and trying to make sense of it and trying to find the reason why. Like, why this, And I understand, but it's not what I would have done, but I understand trying to get me into a place where I can stop and think about what I'm doing. That was the biggest thing my mom and a lot of people told me was, I was afraid if you didn't go to jail that you were going to die. So it became this, they're justifying it, it's like, well, you needed to sit down and think about what you're doing. And it's true. I had this momentum behind me that was just chaotic, man. It was chaotic. I feel like I was going down, so I was reaching for things and people and grabbing whatever I could hold on to, and sometimes I would take them or it down with me, and I was just this young person spinning out of control, going down, and I was trying to reach for anything I could. But it's all good now. I'd like to think now, currently, in 2020, my mother and I have been rebuilding, creating a better relationship, and it's awesome, and it's amazing. A lot of it is centered around growth and self-development and evolving as people. Both of us are kind of on that path lately, the path of self-development, self-realization. And we're just kind of looking back at what we did in our behavior and everything. And we all regret things. It was just a certain time in our lives. A lot of us wish we could forget. It's just a pretty intense story. And I wanted to tell that story because it is very interesting. And it's comedic, It's pretty hilarious. It's terrible as well. But you got to be able to look at it in a healthy manner. Yeah, so getting out of jail was pretty intense. I definitely had a lot of anxiety. I didn't know where I could go, where I could not go. I didn't know if cops were looking for me. I didn't know if I had to check in somewhere. And yeah, just getting out of jail and then boom, okay, I'm on probation. Our band is still playing. Just this one guy and I were still playing music on the regular. I was on probation, get together, we're jamming one night, and I take a pill. My buddy was like, hey, I got a pill if you want a pain pill. Hydrocodone. I'm like, yeah, sure, dude. I don't think they're going to drug test me. Boom. So I take that. I'm not being drug tested, so I think it's all good. And I only meet with my probation officer once a month. I started to party again because I realized I could get away with it. I realized I was on unsupervised probation. I realized, that I could party and get away with it. So this guy in my band, just definitely wasn't really liking it, man. He was just kind of getting fed up with my attitude and my destructive behavior. And he's kind of overthinking things and kind of making my business his business for sure. And he says, yeah, man, I don't like how you just party all the time and you hook up with girls all the time. And I have a girlfriend and I'm loyal to her. I don't do that stuff you do. And then he tells me, you're getting high and getting stoned and taking pills and drinking and you're on probation, dude. You're gonna get in trouble. You're gonna get in fucking trouble, dude. So I was just kind of like, all right, listen, fuckface, I got this. I'm gonna do my thing. I know what I can get away with, what I can't get away with. It's all good. But he would not let it go. His parents would be gone for work during the day, and I'd be homeless and wouldn't have anywhere to go. So I would go to his house, and it was always unlocked. So I would, make some food and try to find some quarters, try to find some change. Sometimes his dad would come home, and I'd have to fucking bail. Terrible. Being young and just trying to get by and play music and didn't know how to work, I did not know where to start. I didn't know how to have a foundation. And I didn't really know or understand these pillars of life that we need. We need to have these internal belief systems and these values, things that hold us together, these things that bring us our foundation inside and, and how we deal with things and how we react to things. We have to have some kind of internal meaning for everything, some kind of value system. I didn't have any of that. I was spiritually bankrupt and was just living on impulse and feelings here and the now and the just day by day. And I was, dating terrible people too. I was dating similar people. I was dating people that were in chaos, people that were self-absorbed, selfish, partying all the time, never really bringing anything good or positive to the world. Just having a good time and laughing it up. And, who cares who we have to step on and hurt in our process of having a good time and partying. start to date these people kind of that behave just like you. They're addicts, they're destructive, they're alcoholics, they don't have any discipline, they don't have any goals or ambitions. Dated a stripper who was just a pretty weird person. She was pretty hardcore and weird and all over the place. And I remember one time during sex, she started choking me. And I was like, hey, not into it. It's like, no? You don't like it? What about me? Can you choke me? She's like, nah, I'm just not into that. Trippy. Pretty intense, man. She was pretty crazy. And similarly to me, man, she was just kind of out for herself and destructive and just looking for temporary happiness, temporary pleasures. And yeah, when you're young, you don't really look at the red flags. The universe is going to send you these messages and these signs. And when you're in the haze, you're not going to be able to see any of these signs. You're not going to be connected. You're just kind of wandering. You're like a TV without a satellite. You just have a piece of tinfoil on your antenna, and it's not picking anything up. That is unhealthy. It was just very, very unhealthy, and it was just cigarettes, weed, alcohol all the time, pills all the time, had stealing from people to get by. Then, okay, so this band breaks up, In isn't having it anymore, going into his house during the day, eating all his food or whatever, and his parents don't like it, and he's bummed out because I'm partying and not taking probation seriously. So we break up, boom. Now I'm in hell because I don't know anybody else that jams. I don't know anybody that plays music. There's this one kid, L, we'll call him. L was this little emo kid that played in metal bands and hardcore bands there in town, an emo band. And he was a pretty good kid, but he was similar in that him and I were both kind of on the streets, and him and I were both kind of hopeless and didn't have family supporting us. We didn't really have much. We didn't have anywhere to go to, so we kind of hooked up and we linked up, just kind of helped each other get through things. And he played guitar, so we started jamming a lot. Project called Killed Last Night. Cool band, fun band, and it was just all about partying. Once again, it was just a destructive combination, him and I. We both didn't really know what the hell we were doing on this earth, and we just went to our instruments. We turned to music all the time, man. That was just our thing. It was the thing that made us feel like we were good at something, and it gave us purpose and reason. Gave us a reason to be alive that day. Going to the soup kitchen together and just seeing all these down and out people and mentally ill people and just tattered, torn clothes, and they smell bad. They're just mentally out to lunch. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of affected me. Being around these people, it affected me, and I just really didn't want to end up like that. I didn't want to end up going there all the time. I was like, this has to be something where I have to fix this. I can't be coming here all the time. I can't make this a regular thing. I cannot end up like this. Got a job at a sandwich shop, Blimpie, very cool. And it was out at the Walmart out in Durango, Colorado. And it was just, a nice little job there. Got paid, got some money in my pocket, able to pay rent and buy drumsticks and buy alcohol and stuff like that. And that was my first kind of little job there. There would be this construction worker would come in when my boss wasn't there, and she would ask, hey, can I trade you some hydrocodone, some Percocets? I can trade you some pills for sandwiches. I was like, oh, hell yeah, sounds good. So she'd come in once a week or something, and I'd make her sandwiches, and I wouldn't ring them up, and she would give me like 10 or 20 pills, and that would get me through, a week or two or whatever the hell. Staying on friends' couches, sleeping in people's cars if I could, sleeping on the floors, just whatever I could. It was just pretty intense. It's just hardcore not to have a job and not to have a vision, not to have any aims or goals. This was literally the point in our lives where we were thinking about the military. Like, we were right where people get to. We were in that area of life people get to, and they join the military because nothing is going on, and they have nothing happening in their life. So we were kicking around the military. They were just headed to Afghanistan and Iraq, and it just looked very chaotic, and it looked like a mess, and I didn't really want to get involved in that. I mean, my dad was in the Air Force, and he passed away when I was younger. He got cancer from the chemical exposure. It gave him brain cancer, and he died in 1994 out in Colorado. Yeah, this is probably 2008 that we're talking around, 2008, 2009. And I got a job at the train yard. In Durango, Colorado, there's a train, the Durango Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. And I remember this summer, I got a job. I quit the gas station, got a job with a bunch of my friends over at the train station. And it was the most fun, most amazing summer of my life. It was so fun. And we worked so hard. We would usually start at like 4 p.m., maybe 3 p.m., and go till midnight or 1 a.m. And what we would do is we would put on our overalls and we would get all our gear, rags and brooms, and we would sit there and wait for the train to come into town. And the train would blow its whistle when it was in Hermosa. So it would start blowing its whistle and we would get ready. Here comes the first train. Passengers, tourists, everybody would get off. And then we would get on and we would start dusting and cleaning and throwing the trash away, resetting the bathrooms, scrubbing the windows and all this good stuff. It was so fun. It just taught me how to work hard. We were just always covered in sweat. There were a few nights where we would clean the parlor car, the cart at the very end, this bar. It's a box car, but you can go in there and it's a nice, awesome bar. Victorian era, old, beautiful, and it's just so awesome. And there's all this booze in there, so we would steal the booze and shit like that. We would take some shooters and we would all smoke weed, and just have a blast and have a good time. There were a few people that were they got out of hand. They were drinking a lot, and then it became noticeable, and this dude was just drinking tons and being there till 3 or 4 a.m. And they're like, what's going on here? So, after that, we had Superior watching us pretty heavily. But no, it was awesome, man. It taught me how to work hard, and we all just felt good about the work. It was fun to go to work, be with our friends and everything, and it was just a blast. That was a good time, and it taught me a lot, being out of control and crazy and just young and running around. We would get on our lunch breaks and go over to DSP, grab some pizza, and run around the town. Just the whole crew in our overalls. I lost that job, I think. A bunch of people quit, a lot of people got fired, and just kind of all fell apart there. That was just a very dark, crazy, chaotic period. I mean, at least the band broke up, and then I had this job at the train station, and it was keeping me going, and it was keeping things happening. Go tubing on the river, play music all the time, and then all that kind of slowly went away. And then all of a sudden, I wasn't playing anymore. I wasn't jamming anymore. This L guy, I had to get my friend L, I had to get him involved. I had to get him motivated and start playing. It was a great time. Again, it was a lot of alcohol and just getting into trouble and drink and get off work and grab some beers and go to jump in the river and listen to death metal and just be on fire. We were just having a blast. I got trashed one night and I'm on the roof of this barn. I think my buddy gave me some oxycodones, so I take some pills. I'm drinking a bunch of beer, get on this roof for some reason, and we're just super destructive and stupid. Lightning storm going on, and we're like, yeah, let's get on the roof. Metal. Having a blast. So I'm super into CKY. I'm super into old Jackass stuff at this point. I love CKY so much. The band and the group, they inspired us a lot. We did a lot of stupid, weird things, like pissed in people's fish tanks, rearranged people's living rooms when they weren't there. I think I took a shit in somebody's sink one time. We're super into CKY, super into Jackass, doing stupid things. I'm on this roof, lightning out. Yeah, metal. We're alive. We're fucking so badass. We're so cool. We're on the roof. I'm like, oh man, there's a basketball hoop. I'm going to get on the basketball hoop. Cool, so I'm on the basketball hoop. Oh, there's a car right over there. I'm going to try to spring myself. I'm going to spring from the basketball hoop over to the car. Yeah. So, boom. I black out. I don't wake up till the next day. I don't remember anything else till the next morning. And I can't walk. So my buddy tells me that I fell off of the basketball hoop. And I broke the basketball hoop. But I can't walk. So my buddy drops me off at the gazebo downtown Durango, this awesome park that we just chill at. We would just chill there and kill hours and days. We would sit there and run into friends, sit there and drink beers by the river, smoke weed, whatever the case. The homies would skateboard a lot there. Chilled there, and I'm like, I can't walk. This is crazy. Call my brother Jim. He comes, picks me up. We go find some crutches. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going on, but I can't walk. I go to the ER, and they're like, yeah, you have a shattered heel. You have shattered your heel, and you're going to need a cast. At this point, I think I was done at the train station, and I was working at Carver Brewing Company. I was at Carver's, and it was so awesome. And I started there as a dishwasher for weed and cigarettes and drumsticks. I'm doing that maybe Saturdays, Sundays. I think I'm doing doubles both those days. Just covered it. I'm just soaked at the end of the day. But it's teaching me. It's teaching me, and I'm working hard, and I'm learning, and I'm interacting with people. So it's a dishwasher position, but I'm still showing up and kicking butt, starting to try to be useful to the world around me. This happens. So I missed work for about 2 months. It was so crazy. This 2-month period where I was just on crutches, taking lots of pills, put me on oxycodone and hydrocodone. And I was on those pills for 2 or 3 months straight. And I wasn't working for those months. I was just partying. I was just drinking and taking lots of pills. I don't think I could play music. It just got pretty intense. I had a girlfriend at the time, and she was okay. She was kind of just a drinker. Those are the people that's the mate that you're going to have, is like where you hang out at and how you behave. It's going to determine the mate that you're going to run into. So this person was pretty destructive herself. She did her thing, but, of course, this small mind about, oh, it's all about the weekends. I gotta make it to Friday. Gotta make it to Saturday. Meanwhile, I lived every day like it was a Friday night. I was starting to pay for it, man. This was the first injury I had. So I had gone this long. I think I'm 20 at this point. 20 years old. Maybe it's like 2009, something like that. And yeah, I'm just about 20 years old with the cast and everything, and just being unable to work. I didn't have much money. I wasn't able to do much. I wasn't very active. I was kind of bummed. I was getting the blues. I was getting the injury blues because I couldn't do much. And, she broke up with me in the middle of my healing. I was definitely not healing. I was definitely still partying a lot and just drinking and being an idiot. Lighting shots of Cardi on fire and slamming those all night, getting into fights with people, with the homies, just together all the time, and we start drinking and feelings come out, things happen. I remember Elle got in a fight with Zach one time. Like, these guys just fought each other pretty hardcore, and Levi doesn't have any self-control. He doesn't have any discipline, and he just punched our friend a couple times, man, and it just wasn't cool. He needed to chill out, but moving forward, recovering from this injury, girlfriend leaves me. I'm not making money. I'm not able to entertain her or keep her interested at this point. It was terrible. I needed some help. I needed care. And, especially in this time of injury, that definitely started a huge thing of pills. This started a huge addiction just because I was able to go to the doctors all the time, once a month or whatever, twice a month, and they would give me pills, opiates, and that just kind of started a whole nother spiral and a whole nother animal to deal with. We're cruising, we're in Durango, we're making things happen. We got an injury. I just got introduced to a lot of pharmaceutical pills. I just got introduced to a lot of opiate usage and a lot of addictive medicine, and I didn't really know a damn thing about life or behavior, psychology, or healing, or rebuilding, anything. I did not know what the hell to do. My friends were kind of getting sick of it too. All the homies were getting kind of fed up with it too because I didn't have any money ever. I didn't have any money, and I never had anything to offer the team. I never had anything to offer the family or the group. It took a long time to recover after this. I was just staying in hotels or something like that. I think I was staying with a friend on the couch and then staying in hotels. I met my friend Steven, who was just the most amazing dude in the world, Steven McKinney. I met him. Levi and I started playing music, and that was Killed Last Night. That was our band. Super awesome, fun times. Just getting a little too wasted, though. It was just all about drugs, man. And it was just all about alcohol and, just being together and getting trashed and celebrating metal. We didn't really have a plan at all. We didn't have the brains. We didn't have skill or anything to make this band a reality. So it was just this thing that we used as an excuse to party. It was just kind of our excuse to party and be animals and not be responsible. Sleeping on people's couches, staying with friends all the time here and there. And, you stay with people and they're not organized. They're not clean people. There's beer everywhere. There's alcohol everywhere. There's dishes that haven't been done in months piling up. Dog hair everywhere. You wake up in some of these places and you're covered with dog hair. Definitely, I needed to kind of throw some details out there about this time period and what was happening around here. It was just very chaotic. There's no other way to describe it. Like, I was in chaos, and I was trying to reach for anything that would give me hope. Boom, introduced to these pills, and I was taking opiates on the regular for my broken foot. And yeah, not much progress was happening. Not much was going on because of this. And it was just another little dark period of my life, man, where I was just trying to figure it out and go through. I had to withdraw from pain pills for the first time. This was just so emotional and so weird, because I didn't really ever deal with anything like this. I couldn't sleep. I was just angry all the time. I was upset all the time. I was edgy, freaking out all the time, drinking because of it. And I would just drink because I didn't have pills. And it made me just more angry and just more on edge. One day they're just like, yeah, I mean, you broke your foot. You've been staying here for 3 months. We tried to help you out, but you got to go. You guys all have to go. That was this chapter. Everything just started to go to shit again. I mean, it was tough, man. I was always hanging out with my brothers, though. My brothers, Tom and Tim, we were always hanging out. A bunch of us, we were just always together. All of us were hanging out. The band would play, and the crew would skateboard, and we just had a blast, dude. We had a good time. It was just the beginning of my little career at Carver's, and it was the beginning of my food career. It was the beginning of my restaurant journey. I had a foot in the door at Carver's, and my cooking career just started to take off from there. Once I decided to give it attention and to give it focus. Once I realized what I had, I was sick and tired of being broke and homeless and not having food. I was so tired of going to the soup kitchen. It's an ugly thing when friends and family fight over food, but it's an important thing to go through. It's a little thing to a lot of people because we have abundance these days. So to go through that was super important, very important to me. This is episode 3 of the Homesick Lonewolf podcast. I just wanted to throw some more information out there and kind of elaborate a little bit on the time period here. And in these days, 2020, I'm proud to say that I'm genuinely trying to build a healthy relationship with my mother and my family, and this is just a chapter of this journey. And I love you all very much, and I hope this was interesting, and I hope it made you think a little bit, and I'll pick off where I left off here next time on episode 4. What I'm trying to do is tell the story of what brought me into addiction. I'm just trying to show that the behavior and the actions and the decisions can bring you to terrible, terrible dark places. Just like success, failure is a very slow process, and one day you could just find yourself at the edge of the earth, the edge of existence, with nothing and no hope and no direction. I love you very much. I hope you have a fantastic day. Please get some sunshine today. Please smile a lot today, and I'll talk to you on the next podcast. Thank you so much. Signing off. This is John Schaefer at the Homesick Lone Wolf Podcast.